Honorable Brother Todd, you're supposed to say hotel.
Ah, now that voice I recognize. How you doing, Dr. Davis?
Very well, sir.
Good. Continue.
All right, brothers. Well, good evening. This Zoom meeting is being recorded. Every event that we do as a social action team will be recorded, and the video presentation or whatever we placed on the social action YouTube page, so that you can always go back to the conversation or the presentation, so you can have that. Good evening. My name is Brother Nichols. I am the Great Lakes Region Director of Social Action. I'm very excited to have this call tonight. This was not how I intended to start the social action work, but upon the news that happened last week, we have just a few days to make a huge change in the country, and Phi Beta Sigma is well poised to assist in that. And so we wanted to have conversations with the brotherhood about what individual brothers and what chapters can do effectively to impact the work, affordable, and does not take a whole lot to mobilize. So just a brief agenda for the night. I'm going to do an introduction of the social action team. We'll go over a couple of disclaimers and just talk about some community-based initiatives that we as chapters and as individual brothers can do in our communities. And then we'll open up for discussion and then some next steps. So brothers, this is the social action team for the Great Lakes as it is shaping up. Some of these brothers are on the call this evening. We have Brother Fred Shaw. The top row of the brothers pictured, and the bottom row are the state champions. So Brother Fred Shaw from Kentucky, Brother Neil McCants from Wisconsin, Brother Demetrius Hicks from Indiana, Brother Mark Booker, Ohio, Brother Carl Benson, Minnesota, and Brother Keith King from Iowa. We are still seeking a state champion for Illinois and Michigan. So brothers, there's lots of work to do, and we need as many brothers as we can in the fold and off the sidelines to get this work done. I want to recognize Brother Terrence Sherman, who is our regional second vice. He is on the call. He is also a part of the social action team. Brother Sherman, anything you'd like to say?
Yes. First, I want to say greetings from the second vice position. I'm so honored to be in front of so many good brothers out here, boots on the ground, ready to do the work. I'm so excited. What's to come from this committee is very, 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 very imperative and important that we are organizing and getting brothers together, because this election season is going to require a lot of boots to ground, but it's also going to take a lot of rebuilding relationships, rebuilding communities. So, and as the people fret and men of Sigma, nobody's more equipped than we are to do that work. So I'm very excited to work with so many good brothers, and looking forward to getting to know y'all all more personally.
Thank you, Brother Sherman. Also want to recognize that on the call, we do have our regional secretary, Brother Joe Guyton. And anything you'd like to say, Brother Guyton?
Thank you, Brother Nichols. Just excited for the Zoom tonight, and definitely appreciate your enthusiasm and activism as the Region Social Action Chair.
Thank you, sir.
Director, rather.
And last but not least, Honorable Brother Charles Talbert. Brother, do you have anything you'd like to add to this conversation before we get started?
No, sir. Just glad I was able to remember the call. I forget a lot these days.
Understood. I'm right there with you.
No, you're not, but okay.
Don't worry. Yeah, my mind that's my wife. But Brother Booker, you have your hand up?
Yeah, I have my hand up because as you asked, I'm monitoring the chat. Brother Benson has asked Brother Nichols if you could add the YouTube page link in the chat before we end.
Yep, it is also part of the presentation.
Okay, sure.
Thank you. All right, brothers. And team is not complete. Just say we are still looking for a few different positions. I will go briefly over what they are. I am looking for community current events coordinators. I cannot know everything that's happening across the 8 states of the region that maybe Sigma needs to address or mobilize to address. And so I'm looking for brothers across the region who want to communicate current events to both myself and to the team to see if it's something that we need to discuss, address, or mobilize to address as part of the social action team. So I'm looking for somebody to hold those positions, and also looking for facilitators to lead and guide the Community Mobilization Leadership Academy. That academy is going to be and teach brothers how to navigate the local legislative process, how to mobilize within local communities, how to create a community-based grassroots approach to mobilization. And so we're working with some really great individuals to lead that academy, and looking for brothers who have specific skill sets to be a part of that effort. If indeed you have some interest in finding out more, drop your name and an email in the chat, and I can send you what that position description looks like. Brothers, as we start these discussions, I want to make sure we see some, we want to make sure that we do things decent in order as an organization. So here are some do's and don'ts of our voter empowerment when we are in our communities, when we go in and discuss and into our chapters and see what we're going to do to help empower voters, to help mobilize voters to the polls, the things that as Sigmas we can and cannot do in our letters and versus as individuals and as chapters. So just real quickly, high level, brothers, we do not support specific candidates. We do not endorse candidates with our letters on as part of our chapter events or part of fraternity events, okay? As chapters, we can host community candidate forums, but we have to invite all the candidates regardless of their party. We can wear our letters while doing voter registration and other nonpartisan activities. We can organize and assemble, march and protest in our letters, and we can attend press conferences called by an ally or partner who address a policy or social justice which is in line with what Sigma supports, okay? You can wear your letters. Any questions about those chapter cans? All right. And to the chapter don'ts and can'ts, chapters cannot endorse a candidate, but members of that chapter can endorse and support and volunteer as individuals. We cannot hold fundraisers for candidates as chapters, and chapters cannot hold a press conference for a specific candidate. Chapters can, however, hold press conferences for topics, issues. So if we want to address gun violence, if we want to address lack of community investment in certain parts of neighborhoods, we can address those things, but we cannot hold a press conference for a candidate. All right. Going on to what the members can do. Members can wear their fraternity symbols at marches, protests, rallies, and other social action activities that align with the fraternity's principles and positions. Members must use good judgment, to make sure that when we're at these events, we don't do anything to bring reproach to ourselves or to the fraternity. We can host candidate fundraisers in their individuals' capacity as individuals, and we can raise and donate money to the Sigma PAC. But what we can't do is wear our letters to campaign fundraisers and other partisan activities. We cannot post pictures of ourselves in our letters with candidates for office, because that could imply that we are endorsing a specific candidate as an organization. And we cannot speak to the press on behalf of the fraternity. We need to direct all those things to headquarters. So I wanted to make sure that we address these things before we go into this discussion about what we want to do, what we can do as a region, so that we do things that don't get ourselves into any trouble. Any questions about these do's or don'ts? Any questions? All right, we're gonna go to the next slide. So, brothers, oh, too fast. Election day is less than 100 days away. We got a lot of work to do in less than 100 days. And the 49 of us that are on the call, we need to go and recruit 49 more each to get this grassroots effort moving. We need to partner with organizations that just not Phi Beta Sig. We need to partner with as many people as we can within the communities to have as much impact as we can. All right. Election day is less than 100 days away. Brothers, I have these graphics that I can send out to everyone who attended. If you put your email in the chat, I can send you all the graphs. We have 100-day, 60-day, 30-day, 1 week, and election day is today graphics so that you can use for social media. All right. Any questions? Why are we on this call and why do we need to address this? Because we have to vote like we've never voted before. Our honorable brother, John Lewis, made this comment, made this statement. It was at a time that he said it. The time is the same now. We have to vote like we've never voted before. There are articles coming out that are saying that Kamala has taken the lead in this and this. Don't believe the hype. There's still much work to do. We don't want anyone to get comfortable like, oh, she's got it, because that is not the case. All right. We need to be excited. We need to be in the streets. We need to be working. Brother Sherman used a great term, boots on the ground. This is the time that we need to get these boots on the ground, get brothers working, get brothers off the sideline, and find a purpose, and the unity and purpose of what we said we're going to do is to impact communities. Another quote from Brother Lewis: your vote matters. If it didn't, why would some people keep trying to take it away? If it didn't mean nothing, if it didn't have value, it wouldn't be as coveted as it is. All right, brothers. And so as we move forward, when we enter the next slide into discussion about activities, I want this to be interactive. We're going to talk about different activities. I want to talk about what chapters are doing, what they have done in the past, because we want to know as a region, as chapters, what we can do to have the greatest amount of impact. Brother Jenkins.
I just want to remind the brothers that polls are for strippers. Don't put a lot of stock in polls. I don't care what they say. Things can change all the time. And we're not going to know the results of the election until it's officially announced. So do not put stock in the polls. That's the main thing that you can stress amongst your friends and your family members. Polls are for strippers.
The only thing that matters is your vote at the poll. None of the pre-conversation, none of the what you read on the news. Your vote is what matters. All right, so brothers, what can we do? And so these are just some ideas. I'm going to move this box to the side. That I've come up with a list of 9. And I want to, as we talk about them, what are chapters doing? What have brothers done as individuals? Where are opportunities you see in your community to have an impact on these types of events? So the first one is community events, organized festivals, town halls, and voter registration drives. These events provide opportunities for voters to learn about issues, meet candidates, and understand the voting process. Have any chapters of brothers hosted a Meet the Candidates forum?
Minneapolis is planning on doing it.
So I know that we are very focused on the national election, but we don't want to lose focus on also local elections and state elections. The local elections have the greatest amount of impact on your everyday individual life. And so when we talk about Meet the Candidates, I'm not talking about inviting Vice President Harris and Trump to your local city. I'm talking about meeting with your local candidates, your state representatives, to see where they stand on issues, because you are voting for them also. All right. So, Brother Benson, can you talk about what it looks like, what you've talked about in your chapter about hosting a Meet the Candidates forum?
Well, one of our brothers, Brother Ron Harris, is a state director for the Harris campaign, but he's also very engaged in the process in general. So I'm working with him on sort of setting up meet the candidates forums, workshops, and conversations via Zoom, of course, throughout the next, I guess, 90 days, I guess, or whatever it is. So we haven't really scheduled them yet, but the idea obviously is because he's deeply connected in the process and knows all the candidates that he can get them on a call. The problem obviously is scheduling. So we're still working on that part.
Well, brother, excuse me, keep us in the loop. Let us know what we can do as a region, what the brothers here on this call can do. Brothers, in this region, we have 2 swing states. We have Wisconsin and we have Minnesota. I mean, Wisconsin and Michigan. And we want to make sure that people don't look at the Great Lakes like we didn't do what we were supposed to do to win those states. Excuse me, I also getting over a cold, so I apologize. So any other chapters or brothers looking at doing a Meet the Candidates forum or any kind of voter registration drive?
We are here in Columbus. We're going to be doing the African American Male Wellness Walk in a couple of weeks, and we will be doing voter registration while we're there participating in the walk.
Awesome. Awesome. I heard somebody else about to talk.
That was me. How you doing, Brother Nichols? This is Zach Cotton.
Good evening.
So our chapter, the Romney chapter, we're trying to schedule a voters registration and fish fry on the campus for University of Detroit Mercy because everyone loves free food. So having representatives from the state of Michigan come out and help people get registered to vote while giving out free food to college students is our way to try to make sure everyone is aware of the election that's coming up.
That's awesome. And what we don't want to forget is the role that college campuses play in the election cycle. Brother, college students vote. Any movement throughout history has been impacted by the work of college students. So we want to make sure that our collegiates are well supported, our collegiates are well educated in what they can do, and we provide them as much support in the initiative they try to do as we can. So I appreciate that, Brother Cotton, and whatever you need, let me know. I saw Brother Carroll's hand up.
Yeah, Brother Carroll, Upsilon Lambda Sigma chapter, new charter member. I know our vice president, Brother Eugene Mans, I think he's joined the call. We will start a voter registration on Saturday. So we're having a voter registration down in Springfield. But yeah, so we are, on the ground trying to get that going. Was definitely doing it before Kamala, before she became the candidate, but yeah, definitely now that she's there, we're sort of going to make sure we get that push.
Yes, sir. That's good stuff. And let me know, shoot me an email, socialaction@pbsgreatlakes.org if you guys need anything, your chapter needs anything, and send me those dates and those flyers so we can help promote those activities, okay? I saw Brother Booker's hand next.
Yeah, just Brother Anthony Riley mentioned in the chat that they had a voter registration table set up at a back-to-school rally last Saturday.
That's awesome. Brother Riley, that's a PIA also. Anytime, this call tonight is a PIA, brother, so make sure you submit your social action PIAs. Small plug. Brother Dr. Davis.
Yeah, what's up, good brothers? Just a quick reminder that the QR code that is set up through Phi Beta Sigma is still active and it does work. So we're actually using that not only at the upcoming National Night Out event to get people registered to vote, but at all of our initiatives that we're going to be attending and or conducting. We're going to have those QR codes out and about to have people not only check their registration, but also register if necessary. In addition to that, we're talking about right now getting about 3 10-passenger vans and on the day of November 5th, actually going around to senior homes and helping transport them to various voting locations.
That's awesome. Brother Davis, I would suggest So as we transport people from our church bus, our church van, some of the elderly have an issue getting into the 15-passenger van. And so maybe renting just maybe full-size cars where they can get into vehicles that are lower than trying to step up into the vans. Just an idea.
Great idea. But the Honorable Charles Tarbert has no problem getting into the 15 passenger van, so we'll be fine.
Can somebody tell me how I raise my hand in here? I can't find anything on here to get in line to say something, and I
Brother
don't want to.
Talbert, because of who you are, you just start talking. We'll
I don't
listen.
want to be denied. See, I want to just, but I can't find anything in here. Well, okay. I guess my question is in terms of what is chapter led and what is organization led. I know following was well maybe it was prior to Boulay. I don't remember. We got that communication from the Council of Presidents.
Mhm.
Okay, I guess it's great for each chapter to take on with their own resources what they're capable of. But is there a national or state or regional campaign process where we're going to get direction, where ideally we're all doing something similarly, perhaps in the same time frame and in communication on that?
Yes, sir. You stole the thunder for the last slide.
I'm
The last
sorry.
slide is but I moved to it. Next
Okay.
Thursday, August 8th, we are having a civic engagement call to action that'll be led by Brother President Ray
Okay.
for all
Okay.
members of the fraternity. And as we get those call to actions, we will break that down regionally
Gotcha.
for our next steps. But that call is August the 8th. And for you, it would be at 7:30 p.m. on Central Time Zone.
Thank you.
Not a problem. So rather than we can also we talk about voter registration and working polling locations. I spoke to a brother today in Iowa who their chapter has adopted a precinct. And so that is a good way for visibility, but the work needs to start before the day of the precinct. And so that is great for visibility for the fraternity to wear leathers and be at the polling locations. But we have to make sure that not only are community members registered to vote, but that their precinct and their registration is still valid. I know locally here in South Bend, Indiana, they did a quote unquote update to the system one year, which changed everyone's polling location without the knowledge to the voter, and it caused chaos at the polls. And it appeared to be intentional, where certain districts were in lines for hours or never got to vote because there were so many different location changes. And so being able to check the voter registration prior to election day to make sure that people know where to go and to make sure their polling location has not changed on them prior to the election. Has anybody in here, any other communities experienced where the precincts have changed unannounced? Brother Booker?
Not so much that they changed unannounced, but some of them have. But one of the things that's happening here in Ohio is our Attorney General, our Secretary of State did a purge just a few weeks ago. And so there are thousands of people who were on the voter registration rolls who are no longer on those rolls. So just one of the things to keep in mind when we're doing our voter registration events, we should have somebody there with a computer who can access the County Board of Elections website for people to be able to check their registrations, because if you can check your registration, then you can find out whether you were purged or not, or if your precinct has been moved.
Yeah, that's what they called it, a purge here as well. And so interesting enough, not everyone was purged. But anyway, so yeah, that is very good information. And I would venture to say that it's not just Ohio and Indiana. It's several states that we need to make sure that the voter registration information is correct. Brother Booker.
Got a question in the chat from Brother Stephen Foster. Do we still have our partnerships with NAACP and when we all vote?
We do. We do have those MOUs in place, and they will be part of that call next Thursday on the 8th to talk about next steps as a joint organizations. Brother Mans?
Good evening, brothers. Speaking of the NAACP, we are currently working with the NAACP in Springfield, Ohio. Basically, so we know what areas of Springfield, Ohio, we could actually post up, like the inner cities and things of that nature. Since most of us, I'm from Dayton, Ohio area, but our chapter is in Springfield. So the work that we're doing is in Springfield. So Ms. Williams from the NAACP is going to be working with us, and one of the gentlemen that handles the politics there. We're going to work with them, and they're going to let us know where we're going to be most beneficial in that area. So NAACP is one of the things that we're trying to get a membership with, to be able to continue to work with them, not only doing voter registration, but other things later on down the road in the future.
That's excellent. Excellent work. Brother Downs.
Good evening, brothers. Johnny Downs, Kappa Theta Sigma. Question that it just slipped my mind. Yeah, that's old for you.
That's after 9 o'clock on a work day for you.
The QR code, there it is.
Yes.
The QR code that we were discussing. Does that have a way of checking the registration and the precinct as well, or is it just register to vote?
I know it's registered to vote. Let me find out, and unless Brother Dr. Davis can hear, he may know more, but I do know you can register through that QR code. I'm not sure if you can check registration though.
Yeah, it only checks their registration. It doesn't check the actual precinct.
Brother Shaw.
Thank you, brothers.
Yes, good afternoon, everyone. I have a question. I'm trying to target the locations that are or that have low voter registration. Is there a way we can check locally where these locations are located?
That is a great question. I do know who would have that answer. Brother Shaw, could you either email me that or put that in the chat, because I have scheduled to save the chat so that I can get questions back out to brothers. But that's a great question. There
Quick
are
answer
maps.
to that.
Go ahead.
Yeah, Brother Malwan Johnson does have access to it.
That's what I thought. Brother Booker.
Another question out of chat. This comes from Brother Ronald Murray. Actually, two questions. Just for clarity, should those voter registration checks happen prior to arriving at the precinct or at community events where we are doing the voter registration drives? My answer to that is they need to be happening as early as possible, because we need to know if someone needs to re-register, and the registration deadline date, I want to say, is October the 1st here in Ohio. And so it has to happen before then so they can register and be able to vote.
Yeah, if we check that on election day, then we've missed the mark.
Yeah. Another one from Rodney Alexander. Is there fraternal talking points that will be developed for each of the bullets on the what can we do slide?
There can be, if you think that's something that'll be helpful for you. I can produce that and get that sent out.
Sounds good. And Brother Murray, I'm following up with your question. If we're doing the registration and poll checks for others at events, do we have any special certifications or special allowances, or can we just show up at our tables with a laptop and iPad and hotspot and just start helping people verify? We can absolutely just do that. There is nothing that is required other than to let them see what their registration status is and have them click on what they need to.
Great questions. Great questions. I do Man, I do want to talk about these civic education workshops, really about voter empowerment. And there's a lot of voter apathy, like my vote does not matter feelings in communities. And we want to make sure that we educate people to know that your vote does count. Each and every vote counts. And so if there's any types of educational workshops you want to do as a chapter, I highly recommend that. And in our program implementation guide that's on Blueprint does have the step-by-step on how to put one of these civic education workshops together. And so that information is available to you through the program implementation guide on the Blueprint. Looking at some other options and opportunities, I want to jump down to the second one. Social media campaigns are huge. They don't cost chapters a lot of money. They don't take a lot of time. The graphics are provided to you by your region, by the fraternity, but really being strategic about our campaigns, where we're posting at the same time of the day. When we set up the schedule to post this graphic at 1 p.m. on Tuesday, and everybody does it using the same hashtags, we change the algorithm. Okay, we set the tone of what the people see for that day and that time. And so using information on social media can really help provide an impact as we let out to this. So if you're having a voter registration drive, or you're checking voter registrations at a community event, it's a great time to advertise and market that on your social media, your individual and your chapter social medias. Okay. The last one on this list, and really where I have seen huge impact, and it's already been mentioned this call, is voter transportation services, arranging transportation to polling station, especially for those with limited mobility. A few years ago in our chapter here in South Bend, we picked up a lady and she had no way to go. And to see her tears of just how happy she was to have a ride to the poll, because she knows how important her individual vote is, that's impact. And what we're trying to do as an organization is impact communities that we serve. And so if you impact just one person, it's mission accomplished. But I feel that with the brothers we have in this region, we can impact more than one person, and we can impact communities. So I really highly recommend looking at ways to provide transportation services to the polls. And again, that has had impact in community after community after community. Other than Brother Dr. Davis, has any other chapter done this in the past? All right. I will say it does work. If you're going to do it, brothers, as chapters, please, please, please take out the additional insurance for this type of initiative from the fraternity to make sure that you're covered. The weather's not always great in November. We are transporting people. We want to make sure that you're covered as a brother and we're covered as a fraternity. But that voter transportation is huge, and providing that service is huge. And if you don't have the bandwidth as a chapter, partner with somebody, partner with a church that has vans, partner with a community organization that has vehicles to be able to make that happen. So many times we get wrapped up saying we don't have, and we don't have the money to rent. There are other ways. The last few years being running a not-for-profit, I've become a professional beggar. I'll ask for anything. And so as chapters and as individuals, we need to just learn how to ask. And most people will want to partner when they're on a positive note. Brother Dr. Tolan, your hand's raised.
Yes, I just want to make sure that because I don't think I missed it, but want to make sure that everything that's being addressed in regards to the voting seems to be geared towards the actual day. But are we doing anything in regards to awareness or helping with early voting, because I think that's a big component that can be missed, as we're stating, like, you got to drive people out to the polls on the actual day, but a lot of that stuff can be handled before the actual election day.
Great point. What some parties don't want is to have that early voting take place. I will say that all of these initiatives can be day of or early voting. If you're doing transportation, if you have the capacity during the early voting period to schedule transportation for people, it can be done then as early voting as well. But we do know that we talked about the voter registration and to make sure that it's valid registration and the rest of people does take place before the day of the election. But Dr. Tolan, that's a great point. As far as the early voting, it provides more opportunities for people to get there. And so more flexibility if you need to help with scheduling the transportation, you have some additional time. All right. Is anybody else doing anything around social media in that discussion within your chapters? Y'all quiet. Too quiet for me.
This is Brother Antonio Seals. We have not dove deep into this discussion, but I really think that this will be a good opportunity for our chapter in Murray, considering that we just started. So do you have any graphics that basically say, hey, your vote count or something of that magnitude, so that we can start posting to get notoriety to the topic?
Brother, if you put your email in the chat and tell me what graphics you want, I'll get that, and I'll also send you all the graphics that we have already prepared for election season.
Perfect. That'll work. Thank you.
Brother Smiley?
Yeah, it's Charles Smiley here from Beta Phi Sigma in Toledo, Ohio. What we are doing, and we started it last month, and each brother is to record a 30-second video on the importance of voting, okay, from their own words perspective, and then we would post that on our social media accounts. So, folks, all the folks on our social media can see it. So what my little message was about, making sure a lot of this happens because my wife works the polls, and don't take that wrong, brothers, but my wife works the polls. So what she finds out is a lot of time people change their address or they reload. And if that address does not match your driver's license, your identification, you won't be able to vote. So that's one of the messages I put in there. And then also the same message is people voting what their values are, not telling people who to vote for, but what is valuable to them. So 30-second videos out on our social medias, and that's what we're doing here.
That's a great idea. So I've worked on several grassroots campaigns, not for politicians, but for policy change. And when you have your sphere of influence, when you post a video or a testimonial about whatever it is you truly believe in and or about the voting process, and your sphere of influence sees that, you're garnering that support, right? It starts to snowball. And so that's a great method with those personal testimonies. That's huge. And so that is a great initiative that chapters or brothers individually can do. Brother Murray?
Yeah, can you hear me? Yeah. Hey, this is Brother Murray Better. I'm from Sigma, Columbus, Ohio. First up, Brother Nichols, I need you to clean that blue line off of your slide. I've been trying to wipe my screen off for the last 42 minutes. I even switched computers.
I think this is it right here.
It's where, thank you, sir. Appreciate that.
We got some OCD folks. I looked at it, I didn't know how to
Yes,
do it.
yes.
Sorry.
The other thing is, some of the different town hall meetings they've been having virtually, but doing some great things social media wise in terms of one of the things I think that we often forget about this big push, which is great about voting and people registered. The other thing I think is two parts is that I think that we're going to get into a period right before the election happens is oversaturating and voter fatigue, message fatigue from people. My fear is going to be about it from black. Can you hear me? Oh, my fear is going to be from other brothers. The fatigue about they're here. Oh, we know we got to do blah blah blah, and they're going to shut down. And part of that is going to be being overwhelmed by different messages, not knowing what message to hear, conflicting messages, only hearing sound bites. And so one of the things that I saw, I can't remember which one of the times I saw, they were saying how to combat or what not to combat on social media, different ways to message correct scripts to use, not again and I don't know if we can create something like that regionally or for the fraternity, like what's the right messages to put out there instead of combating the message. Like the one thing I really liked about it when they were saying, when people were talking about it's a perfect race to have a felony versus a prosecutor, but they were saying, but you're not thinking about how many of our brothers have felony records or prosecutors and things, and that changes that. Before we were using that against her, now that's a plus for her to run against him, and so those are mixed messages, and that might rub somebody the wrong way and things like that. So finding out the right messaging to use outside of even just pushing a voting ring, but things where we have those people who want that preferences of they not to vote or who to vote for, or even just giving right information, because you have a lot of people who only get their information from hashtags or things that come across on their Twitter feeds or what they see in their on their reels or things like that. So finding those right messages and put on social media that we can out there put out ourselves.
That's a great comment. And I would hope that on this call to action call that we're having next week, that messaging will be given to us as a fraternity of how, and as the Divine Nine, of where they would like to see us and how we'd like to see us share information. But that's a great
get some plates and stuff out of there too.
I'm sorry.
Been eating in the room with us.
I'm just gonna mute him. All right, Brother Bustle, I saw your hand up.
Good evening, brothers. I serve as the first vice president for the Epsilon Data chapter. One thing that I feel like that will work for the social media page is just getting your local government to submit a video on why your vote matters, why your vote counts, and stuff like that. Just because if they see stuff from a credible source, more than likely college students are more eager to go out and make a difference.
That's a great idea. We look at like celebrity support, right? You know, if LeBron says it, it must be good. I'm a Cavs fan, so maybe that's a bad example. But you know, if you do get a local politician that's respected, who's laughing at I'm a Cavs fan? Anyway,
Charles Talbot.
Here we go. But that's a great idea. And so seeking out those individuals that are well respected in your communities can also pay dividends. Brother Murray?
Last comment. I don't know how active other chapters are in their local NPHCs. I also think I always love to do more bang for your buck, and I know here we have very active NPHC, and our chapters, both our chapters of Sigma, are very active within that and utilizing that synergized energy of the United D9 together. It's going to be a lot because the D9 here kind of run the city itself. From our city council to the next city, the premier's office, all of us, they're all D9 members. City council, all the things there. It's the whole rainbow of the D9. So utilizing what that looks like and having that unity from the D9 together, concerted efforts of doing voter campaigns as drives together instead of separately, do your separate pieces together too, but also synergizing them together so people see that unity in the community, also breaking down those walls. So that's another idea as well.
And we also here, just to piggyback on what Brother Murray said, we also here have a number of D9 connections to our local news media. We have Frat who's an anchor. There's a Sigma Gamma Rho who's an anchor. There's an Omega Psi Phi who's an anchor in the local news media here, and utilizing those people to help do the town halls would be a great benefit.
That's a great point. This is one time that is not the time to work in silos, right? It's not the time to have an ego. not the time to you know, only support blue and white in this campaign and this work that needs to be done. The more the merrier this time. We can separate after the election and go to talking about each other afterwards. But right now we need to unify and for a common good. We know, and I know it's getting a little off script. If you're not aware of the Project 2025 initiative and at least read some of it, you need to. There's things in there that change the very core of how we live, right? And so though there's one side saying I don't support that, we know we also can't believe anything that comes out of some people's mouths, right? And so we need to make sure that we activate and mobilize like we haven't before. Okay. Crossing organizational lines, crossing color barriers, crossing all these silos that people work in. We need to eliminate all that. All right, so that we can make sure that we're working towards a common good. So and that comes with this call, this civic engagement call. If you can see that on the screen, that's next week. And so this call today was to start these conversations. Brother Talbert, I will send you this call information since you can't see the screen. I will send this
No,
to
I
you.
can see it now.
Oh, okay.
I fell off, and then getting back on, I actually got on right.
All right.
So
Awesome. But we want to make sure that we join this call, and because this is going to be a nationwide call to be a part of. And so we'll take the conversation we had here. We'll take this back and organize the thought process. So when we prepare for this call next week, we have already talked about the conversations we had here in the Great Lakes. They'll talk about the conversations they had in the the West Coast, the Southern region, and try to put an effort together that's joint and that's organized and that's efficient and strategic. Brother Booker?
Brother Nichols, I just saw something in the chat that I just wanted to bring to your attention. A distinguished service chapter member has volunteered to be the champion for Illinois.
Hold on, let me see that.
Y'all are killing me.
Did he write that, or did somebody write that for him?
No, once I was able to figure out how to do stuff, I could do stuff. So I usually do this stuff on the computer. I'm on my phone, and the phone is a total different contraption than the computer.
But see, Brother Charles, in this region, in this fraternity, you have status like Elvis and Prince and Cher, because all it says is Charles.
Right. He got one name.
Oh, damn.
One name.
I still messed it up.
But that didn't matter, because I knew it was the great Charles Talbot.
Oh man.
Yes, he has volunteered to be the Illinois state champion. And
I'm gonna take a picture of that so he can't back out later.
And Brother Bondurant said he would interested in serving with Brother Charles.
That's awesome.
Oh, good.
That's awesome.
Okay.
We will definitely make that happen. So expect my my phone call shortly after this call.
Yes, sir.
All right. All right. We can fill in another blank. Brother Talbot, go ahead and just send me a headshot to my text, and I'll put you on the team and let Brother Whiteside. Oh, he's on the call. Brother Whiteside. We can make this appointment happen right now.
Let's do it.
All right. Appointment so made. Congratulations, brother, honorable Brother Talbot.
Well, thank you. The post actually said I was interested, but I'm with you. I'm with you.
Hey.
As in learning more, but I'm with you. No problem.
All right, understood, sir. There was a question about would there going to be a link to this civic engagement? Yes, there is a graphic that is being created by headquarters that should be out today or tomorrow, so we can start sharing that link to that meeting. All right, brothers, any final question? I want to say I appreciate the conversation. This was not meant to be detailed, bullet-pointed planning session, right? This is, let's talk about what we've done in the past, what chapters are currently working on, so we can share ideas, share energy, hear what they're doing on the collegiate campuses, see what we're doing in individual communities. And so as we organize these conversations, right, then we come together and say, here's the initiatives, here's the directives from headquarters, here's how we want to move, and let's all move in synchronized and with one goal and one movement. Let's not just be in the same book. Let's be on the same page within the same book. Okay. In the same paragraph, in the same sentence. And so we can, I don't see any risk management folks, when we can lock up arm in arm, right, together. I know if Brady was on the call, I'd get a cease and desist on my sentence, but I want to make sure that we know that we are locking arms together for one intent. All right. I see Brother Wright sweating over there. Current state director got nervous when I said lock up. So, but brother, are there any final questions? I want to make sure we stay on time and on task tonight, because I know in the Eastern time zone it's hitting 10 o'clock and my right eye is already getting sleepy. So any questions?
Hey, Brother Nichols, this is Brother Avery Wells, Epsilon Theta Chapter. I don't have a question, but I do want to thank you for having this call and starting this conversation. I think it's very important that Sigmas are engaged in the upcoming election, as we all know the stakes. And I also see that we have a few collegiate members that are on the call as well. So I want to share something that we've recently been talking about at our school. So just like every other campus across the states, we have our yard show that takes place at about either beginning of October, end of September every year. So this year, what we're going to try to do is all collaborate amongst the 9 organizations, because we do have all 9 present at our campus. Collaborate amongst the 9 organizations for each organization to perform their yard shows in the shirt that says vote, with the color of the organization, and the O is the seal of the organization. And I think especially in those swing states, and in Michigan, Minnesota, and Wisconsin up there, or whatever it is up there, that would definitely be a good idea to try to push those chapters up there, to try to draw up more support from collegiate members and just people who are on college campuses in general. I think that's a great show of unity, and I think it's a perfect opportunity to spread that message to all those that come to watch and show interest in D9.
That is a great concept, and whoever created that should bottle it up and sell it. That is a great concept for these yard shows.
I'll send you the bill.
Brother Sherman, I know you had something that you were talking about doing with the joint organizations at your chapter on your campus.
Yes. So we are so fortunate enough to have 3 of the highest ranking collegiates for Phi Beta Sigma, Delta Sigma Theta, and Alpha Phi Alpha fraternity and sorority, respectively, incorporated. And we are working on getting regional initiatives across all 3 of our organizations. So have a voter registration competition. We still are working out the details since the Alphas are just coming out of conference and the Deltas are going into conference this weekend. So we're still working out those details. Their focus has been towards their respective regional conferences, but I do plan on announcing something with that pretty soon. We are also working with we plan on working with the city of Detroit. They reached out and wanted to collab with us, seeing the different work that we do. They want to reach out and collab. So we're planning on working that, kind of figuring out the details of what a collaboration could really look like. But they want it to be a social media campaign as well as in-person events. So in the near future, we do plan on sitting down with the city of Detroit and working out those lines. So I'm hoping that I can have something back more concrete to report to the committee by the next meeting.
That's awesome. And so all of these initiatives together, right, is what's going to move us forward and reach the goal that we intend to reach. So again, the work on these collegiate campuses is key. The work that we do as alumni brothers in our communities is imperative. It's paramount that we make it happen. Brother Booker, you're muted, Brother Booker. You're still muted, Brother Booker. He is going, ain't he?
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, two very quick things. One, remember that it's not just college students. Anybody who's going to be 18 by election day is eligible to vote in this election. So if you get a 17-year-old who's going to be turning 18 sometime in October, you can get that person registered to vote as well. So we may need to reach out to even to some of the high schools. And also, just another quick question. Could all the state champions that we have identify, research the registration deadline for your state so we can submit that to Brother Nichols so we can get that all out so everyone knows, as we're putting together these registration initiatives, what your timelines are.
Okay. All right, brothers, I'm going to put that into the chat. If you go to, I saw the question about the for YouTube again. I'm going to type this into the chat now, but it is at, oh crap. I was going to tell you. All right, there it is. I got it. GLR social action. So when you go to YouTube, you can just search at GLR social action. There is currently no videos there yet. I'm uploading the kidney presentation that Dr. Spears did, and I'll be uploading this video onto that channel. I still see more information coming to the chat. Let me save that. Brothers, it is about that hour. Save chat. Is there any last comments from anyone? Hearing none, thank you for your time. If there's anything you need, my email is socialaction@pbsgreatlakes.org. My cell phone number is 574-208-0888. Again, don't hesitate to text. If you need anything, I may not answer my phone call during the day, but I definitely return text messages. All right. So brothers, I appreciate you. I appreciate your time. Please be on the lookout for the information for next week's call. And there was supposed to be a D9 presentation tonight on CNN, but it might have got pushed since Kamala was speaking tonight. It might have got pushed off. But I will find out information from that and send that out when that comes available. All right, brothers. Have a good night.
Right.
Appreciate y'all. Go Mob.
Go Mob.
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 Go Mob.
Go Mob. Go Mob.
Go Mob. Brother Nicholas, you still
Go
got a couple
Mob.
seconds
Go
after the call?
Mob.
What'd you say, Brother Sherman?
I said you still got a couple seconds after the call. I think Brother Johnson kind of headed out already.
He didn't join in. I texted him.
Well, to everybody head out.
What's up, Brother Tommy?
What up, Mob?
Long time no see. What's it been, 2 days?
Man. Feel like it. You still in Indy?
I'm in South Bend right now. I got home from Peoria yesterday.
Oh yeah. Dude.
Yeah. Brother Sherman, do you want me to just give you a call?
Yeah, that works too.
All right, brothers. Y'all brothers have a good night.
All right, y'all.
Go Mob.
Mob.
Bye.